It's Saturday night in the Philippines, and we have a monster super typhoon off of the northeast coastline of Luzon. I'm meteorologist Robert Speta. I always do my best to inform and educate you on these storm systems. Try with no hype, just giving you the facts. And let's talk about the facts with this one, with JTWC right now estimating the winds in the core of it at 260 kilometers per hour. That is just absolutely catastrophic. And a lot of the buildings, especially where this is headed, including out here just across the Batanes Islands as well as the Babuan Islands, you know, their buildings are built for those type of winds, but objects outside of it, including cars, bikes, just kind of light objects, are not. And these are the type of winds where things can definitely turn into projectiles. So let's make sure we're being smart, being safe out ahead of this. This is a look at your signal force warnings, 3 in place across the islands, but I wouldn't be surprised if this gets up to nearly a 4 or a 5 as it passes right overhead. Actually, the northern portions of the Babuan Islands, the right front quadrant likely is going to be very close to Basco here, but basically, I do believe that island's going to kind of get the worst of the right front core of this super typhoon. Like I mentioned, good news, a lot of the buildings there are built for it, but boy, Apari and the northern coast of Cagayan, for that matter, including like Santa Ana, you know, they're still going to get the wraparound pushing in from the north, which is why there is a storm surge warning in place along those coastal areas, especially low-lying spots near the Cagayan River where, you know, you kind of have a little bit of a floodplain there. That is definitely going to be rising up as this kicks on by and moves off towards the west. But my worry was, you know, when we were seeing those original spreads of the models, that this could either head towards Taiwan or towards the south, and I kept saying, I think it's going to be further towards the south. It just has that trend, that look, that pattern with the high pressure ridge towards the north, and it does look like more so and more so this is going to be closer to northern Luzon here with the right front there, as I mentioned, around Basco and the Batanes Islands, but still Apari, you know, you're going to get those wraparound winds pushing in from the north and west. Before I go any further with this update, by the way, I do want to, and I don't really do the ads too much, but From Runner Financial has been supporting Western Pacific weather for some time now, and I just wanted to give them a shout out. If you are looking for an accountant, especially if you are somebody that works in multiple different countries, lived and worked overseas, including in Japan and the Philippines, these type of brands were just so helpful. So check them out if you are one of those people and you're just looking for somebody to help manage your finances. All right, back to the tropics here, and I take another look. This is a track from JMA, by the way. So the winds are a little bit lower than what I was talking about with JTWC. They're usually more conservative, and they based on a 10-minute wind scale. But their track is more or less the same, passing just towards the north of the Babuan Islands, moving towards the north and west, and then eventually tracking just towards the south of Hong Kong, putting Hong Kong a little bit too close for comfort in the right front of that storm system, but it doesn't look like it should be a direct hit, at least on your metro. Take a look at the flow here with the ECMWF, though, and another thing I want to stress is, even though I'm talking about the core of this storm and how close it's going to be to those Batanes Islands, you know, the overall girth of this is pretty wide. So the northwest coast of Ilocos Norte down towards La Union, who are all under signal force warnings, by the way, even as far south as Pangasinan, are still going to be seeing some rough weather wrap in from the coast from the west. It won't be a full-on inner core of a typhoon, but definitely heavy rainfall, some tropical storm strength winds, which can be rough at times. And then you see Hong Kong, very similar setup there too. In fact, with this kind of just thread in the needle as it moves off towards the west. And then you look at the bigger kind of idea here, and you have all this inflow wrapping around. You see, just like that, which is going to continue to increase rainfall for the west coast of the Philippines, and also same deal for the east coast of Taiwan. Now, this is another kind of elephant in the room. You see this area down towards the south. ECMWF has been really wanting to develop this up, and a lot of people have been asking about it, rightfully so. I've been kind of really focusing on the storm at hand versus trying to worry about the next one, but this would show probably Thursday and the Friday we could have another LPA on our hand. The guidance is not screaming typhoon like we were seeing with Ragasa here, but And that was because a little bit further towards north, more Coriolis, it just had a slightly better favorable environment. But this next area, it could surprise us. At the very least, I do think an increase in rainfall later on this week from this area of convection right there that could kind of track up like that. For now, though, obviously, look at the screen. The beast, the storm at hand is the one I'm focusing on. But, I mean, I wouldn't panic for this next one because the signs don't scream big storm, but the environment is semi-favorable for that. All right, so let's take a look at our wave heights. Big old fat waves coming in from this, especially for South China. The entire west coast of Luzon is going to continue to see those surges coming in from the west, and then you can see that secondary low being picked up here with those increasing wave heights, by the way. And you're also going to see that with the ECMWF and the rainfall outlook, because you can see the flow coming in here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday up and down the west coast, and then you start to look at the precipitation build in from the east due to the next LPA. Still, west coast rain totals could be upwards of 200 to 300 millimeters in spots across parts of region 1, 500 millimeters in spots across parts of Taiwan, though, as that flow wraps around and slams into your mountains. Oof, a lot happening with this storm system. It is a major, powerful system here. We've just had such rapid intensification the last few days, so big shout out to Frontrunner Financial, all of our supporters who allow me to just continue to do these updates. And I see a lot of you returning with this storm and who've been gone for a while saying, hey, you're still doing this. Just a reminder, I try my hardest to put these out every single day, basically courtesy to the support on our Patreon members and all our subscribers and everything like that. So even on days when there's not a lot going on, you can still look for my video. If you hit that like and subscribe button, you'll be notified when they do come out instead of just when the storm is on our doorstep, because I've been talking about this risk of a super typhoon in this exact area for nearly a week now. So if you're just hearing about this, hopefully you subscribe so you can get those earlier heads up as we go ahead into the future. Anyways, a big thing though right now is if you are just hearing about this, make sure you're making proper decisions. You're going to be staying safe out here. This is going to be a big bad storm system for the Luzon Strait, a spot that is known for getting these, so they're prepped, they're ready to go. But it could be some misleading banding coming in from the north for parts of Cagayan, Ilocos Norte, Abra, there on the northern coastline of Luzon. As always, though, hey, stay safe. Thanks for watching. Make sure you check in with Ragasa, your local authorities, too, as well. Don't ever use my word as the final decision. I just want to inform, educate, better communicate some of this information out there. So, yeah, you're ready to go. Anyways.